Namo Namaha friends, I am RRK. Welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to talk to you guys about some of the bookish terms that content creators across BookTube use liberally, which people, especially ones that are new to BookTube, might be unfamiliar with. If you notice, I already used two such terms in my earlier sentence. I absorbed these words into my daily life due to the time I spend on BookTube. But I forget that not everybody is as acquainted with books, leave alone BookTube. So I thought maybe a brief reckoner of sorts might help newbies or even book enthusiasts soaking their toes into the vast shores of BookTube. So let me start with the word BookTube itself. It's nothing but a small corner of YouTube that talks extensively about books. It's but a small niche that bibliophiles have carved out in YouTube for themselves, like authors have done with AuthorTube. This niche is not as popular as cooking, beauty, lifestyle channels, etc. But being an avid BookTube binge watcher, I can attest to the fact that BookTube has its small but dedicated audience. It's just the community of creators and consumers who concern themselves with everything related to books. Along the same lines, we have a few other words like Bookstagram, which is the book community in Instagram, BookTok, as must be obvious by now, the very popular community within TikTok, Books BLR, the community, or more specifically, the tags you use to indicate that you are talking about books in Tumblr. There's also Book Twitter, but it's not as hep sounding as the rest of them. Also, what is bookish? Bookish simply means anything and everything related to books. It could be bookish views, bookish terms, bookish games, or challenges. Now, many terms that we use may not be as intuitive as the ones I mentioned earlier. For example, ARC, which means Advanced Reader's Copy. This is actually a book copy that's given as a complimentary copy to reviewers before they are officially published. Now, why is this done? It's a form of marketing where the author or publisher provides an advanced copy in return for a review by an influencer. That is a person who has a platform to speak about the book, maybe via their blog, YouTube channel, or social media. But please note, the reviewer is under no compulsion to talk about the book because it's largely a voluntary arrangement, unlike sponsorships. Now let's talk about some of the terms related to reading. So first one is binge read. You must have heard of this term often. This is referred to an action where we read books back to back, usually if it's part of a series or even otherwise. This generation is definitely super familiar with this term, as we are also used to binge watching movies, dramas, series, isn't it? Second is buddy read. Now, this, as the name suggests, is reading with buddies. See, reading has traditionally been a very solitary activity. But in this age of social excesses, reading has been turned into a social activity with people conducting reading sprints, live shows, discussions, and whatnot. And I, for one, am definitely not complaining. I used to think only the gaming communities had fun and only political parties had chai pe charcha. Glad book community is not far behind in having fun. Then we have book tag. Answering a few book-related questions and tagging somebody else to do the same. It's just the way we play the game. This is a virtual bookish game. Then we have DNF, which simply means did not finish, one of the many acronyms used by the book community. It simply means the reader did not finish a book they had started. It could mean they are keeping it aside for now and probably revisit later, or it could also mean that they are giving up on it entirely. Then we have haul. This is a fancy term to mean the reader has acquired some books either by buying them or borrowing them from the library. Readathon. This is one of my favorite portmanteaus of all time. Somebody combined reading and marathon and formed the word readathon. Genius, isn't it? It simply means doing a reading marathon. Maybe read for some hours at a stretch or read over a span of a set number of days. Then we have reading slump. As the name suggests, it's a phase when prolific readers feel they can't do it anymore. A phase where they have burned out of their current hobby and want to take a break from it. I have found this happening to me even with TV shows. Sometimes I binge watch something continuously and then I don't want to watch anything for a few days. Guess we all are victims of overconsumption sometimes, isn't it? Unhaul. Again, this is where we give away the books that we no longer need, either by way of donating or selling them. Wrap up, giving a brief summary of all the books we have read in a certain period of time, either weeknightly, fortnightly, monthly, or so on. Now let's move on to some book-related terms. Own voices generally means, it refers to an author from an underrepresented community writing about the said community, like black authors, women authors in high fantasy, indigenous authors, authors from the LGBTQIA+ community, etc. Ship. Taken from the word relationship, it means to pair characters together to create relationships, not necessarily canon. This is a term generally used in fan fictions. Standalone. A book standing on its own or not part of a series of books. Spoiler. Information about a book or movie that spoils the suspense or reveals twists that might lessen the enjoyment of that book or movie. Now let's move on to some acronyms. Now please note that acronyms are getting created on a daily basis these days. What with the social media and people's creativity getting a multifold boost, so I will not be foolhardy enough to attempt such a thing as giving an exhaustive list. But I will attempt to list at least a few frequently used ones, the ones you might hear in most of the bookish videos or content. MC refers to a main character. POC refers to person of color. POV, point of view. It could be single character point of view in the book or multiple characters. RTC, review to come. This you will generally find in Goodreads or blogs where the reviewer has given you the initial review, maybe rating, and they will give an elaborate review in days to come. TBB, this refers to books to be bought. Sometimes people would want to shortlist books to buy and they will be tagging those books under books to be bought. Then TBR, this refers to books to be read. I myself have put out videos saying TBR. It's generally a plan that we come up with so that I can keep track of the books I want to read. What are the books I plan to read in this month? Kind of helps you stay on top of your goals. It's easier for you to do the buddy reading, or you can participate in readathons or challenges. So as I said, reading has become a social activity these days, and TBR, TBB, etc. helps you stay on top of them. TW, trigger warnings. Usually something that you might like to know before reading a book, especially content warnings about abuse. For example, sexual abuse, drug abuse, child abuse, animal abuse, contents related to rape. You might want to know beforehand that books contain such things. It could also give you a hint about certain warnings related to psychological disorders, depression, self-harm, suicide, loss, etc. So think of it like the film rating system that you are familiar with. As you must have guessed by now, most of the terms are part of Urban Dictionary. You must have heard it used in various music, drama, and movie fandoms already. So that was my humble list of bookish terms you might hear often in bookish circles. I hope you found it useful. Did I miss out on any commonly used terms? Which are your favorite bookish terms? Please do let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you would like to see more bookish content from me, then please don't forget to like my videos, subscribe to this channel, and press the bell icon. Looking forward to sharing more of my bookish thoughts with you. Let's keep the bookish conversation going. Until next time, stay safe and healthy. Om Shanti.